unarmed Texas teen. The FBI is now being asked to investigate following the death of Christian Taylor. This comes after this edited surveillance video shows Taylor wandering around this car dealership lot. He's seen, walking on top of these cars, kicking out a car windshield, and then you see here driving a Jeep through the front window of the dealer showroom. That's all on surveillance. Police did eventually arrive on the scene. Officials say a confrontation happened between the officers and this young man. And one of the officers, Brad Miller, shot Taylor 4 times. The victim's father spoke up.
Shoot an unarmed man, and you train to take down, as a police officer, you train to take down men with your hands. You have your tasers, you have your clubs, whatever there is, unarmed, 19-year-old. And you shoot to kill.
I want to begin with CNN's Ed Lavandera, who is there in Arlington, and then we'll talk to retired detective for Nutley, New Jersey Police Department, Steve Rogers. But Ed, to you first. I know you talked to the owner of his car dealership. What did this person tell you?
Well, the owner of the dealership let us in just a little while ago to kind of see the scene inside the showroom area where the shooting took place. He let us in because he says he's been kind of criticized on social media with the release of the surveillance video outside of in the parking lot area. He says there are 32 surveillance cameras throughout the area, but none of them are inside the showroom floor. We were in there. We did not see any surveillance cameras. He wants people to know that he's not hiding anything because this shooting did apparently take place outside of the range of the 32 cameras that are on that property, which capture Christian Taylor acting, as you described at the beginning there, erratically. And then, so we were in that showroom area. And what is interesting from what the owner told me, he said that outside in the parking lot area, there is actually a loudspeaker system, and that when Christian Taylor was on the property, he was warned through the speaker system, quote, "You're being monitored, please leave." And then as soon as he started jumping on top of the Ford Mustang and breaking out the window there, the person came back on the loudspeaker and warned him again, saying, quote, "Police have been called." And you can, so those warnings were issued according to the owner of the dealership there through the loudspeaker system. And then those 2 officers arrived there at the scene, and everything moved inside the showroom area where there were no cameras.
Okay, Ed, stay with me, but Steve, I just have to go straight to you. Obviously, one question that no one has the answer to thus far is why this young man was walking all around on these cars and smashing in car windows, A. B, the question being, despite that, why did this police officer, an officer in training who was with a veteran officer, why did he use his gun where the veteran officer apparently had pulled out the taser? Can you explain the training situation to me?
Well, obviously, there was a total lack of training. Brooke, where was the officer's life threatened? Where was any member of the public threatened? And the problem we run into in cases like this, what if this individual was on drugs? What if he was intoxicated? What if he was mentally ill?
Right.
You don't shoot people like that. There were other means and other ways to apprehend him. It's a total lack of training.
Okay, so total lack of training, point made. The question, though, is if you are out and you're training, I believe he's 49-year-old, but 49-year-old officer in training, you have this veteran officer with you. If something happens, i.e. they are called to a scene because someone's acting erratically, is that training officer allowed to immediately function as a full-fledged officer? Was what he did, no, I'm not saying what he did was appropriate, but jumping into officer mode, is that even allowed?
Well, yes. I'm sure the officer who did the training was a supervisor, at least I would hope so, with many years of experience. But let me share this with you. Any officer, whether it be a patrolman or a supervisor, when he sees an officer in training draws his gun, and I'm not saying he shouldn't have drawn his gun. At times you don't know what's going to happen. But in a case like this, when you do not see a threat, every officer is incumbent, I'm saying, holster that weapon.
Yeah.
We don't want it even to be discharged accidentally. Now, if someone's life is in danger, that's a whole different scenario.
Ed, can you tell me a little bit more about these 2 officers and also how police are responding to this?
Well, we do know that right now, those officers at some point today will, if they haven't already been interviewed formally, they were given a couple of days to give their formal statements to investigators to figure out whether or not this shooting was justified. We know that that will have taken place by the end of today. What is interesting is that the police chief over the weekend said that they're really focusing in on the altercation. They say an altercation took place between Christian Taylor and the 2 officers. They couldn't describe if it was verbal or physical, but they say that that is a critical component of this investigation. Whatever happened in that, quote, altercation will be scrutinized intensely.
All right, so let me follow up on that. You hear about that.
Yeah, if he had a weapon, that changes the whole case here. But if the altercation involved verbal or non-weapon, that's problematic. And I give credit to the police chief for coming out in front of this.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Okay, sounds like we're going to get more on that. Ed Lavandera, thank you so much. And Steve Rogers, is always a pleasure. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
so much, sir.